I've got here a bucket of what's been fermenting. It's mango flesh that's been fermenting for quite a few weeks now, and all the action has stopped in the homemade airlock here to the right. It's just got a piece of pipe down into a flask here, wound around so it can't come out, and when the pressure buildup is inside the bottle is significant enough, the carbon dioxide bubbles out, and I've made airtight all these fittings with glue, and there's been no leaks, so it should be relatively pure what's inside there. Not for consumption, obviously. I'm not doing things hygienically enough for that. This is purely for experimental purposes, and I plan to siphon using the ferment into these two demijohns. I'm not sure, maybe half demijohns. And there's only 2 of these here, and there's a lot in the bucket, but I think because there was a lot of flesh, it'll be alright, because I'm not sure that the yield of clean, pure fluid will be that high. Now that I've opened the bucket, you can see the pulp and some of the stones. These are just the things that were left over because I did not filter what I put into the bucket. So I'll have to run this all through a funnel and a filter and a sieve. Okay, so what I've got here is a strainer and a smaller bucket, and what I'll be doing is I'll be pouring the mix into this smaller bucket through the strainer, and that will filter out most of the pulp and the stones. And then once that is done, I'll just throw the stones and the pulp into a rubbish receptacle, and I'll be able to collect most of the liquid in the bottom of this bucket. Then I'll probably filter it through some fabric to get another step of filtration. Then I'll put it in bottles to sit for the final particulate to settle out of the mixture. And once again, this is not for consumption. So now that that's done, in here I've got a bucket of strained ferment. It's by no means nearly pure. Look at all that suspended particulate. I'll have to filter that out probably with a cloth after I've taken them out of these demijohns, I think. Later on in the process I'll let that settle out first. And this is what I didn't pour in, or what was strained out. That's just a mixture of yeast, dead yeast, and pulp and stones from the fruit. This is what I'm interested in, and now I'll siphon that into the demijohns and bottle it and let it sit. I've currently got the demijohns filling, siphoning this out. Maybe a bit of a slow process due to the height difference, because there's only a small height difference between this and this. I now have these 2 demijohns capped and full. Can you see that, the filling line? I haven't left much room at all in these for frothing or bubbling, and that's because I am fairly certain all the fermentation has finished, and so I don't think I'll need to worry much about build-up of gases or yeast activity in the bottles. The interesting thing about this is that I've still got half a bucket left, so I'll have to see if I can find some more containers. So I've found and filled these 2. There's still a little bit left in the bucket, but it's really just the dregs and I don't need it. I'll just throw that away. But look at this. It's a pretty funky colour. I guess mango and pineapple will kind of look like that. There was no pineapple in this. I was just using all the rotten and old mangoes that I found under the tree well, not rotten, but they were just fallen, and they were not yet ripe to eat, but they would not ripen on the ground, so I decided to use them. The yield is pretty good. Even though I left quite a bit of stone and pulp in the bucket, I put 20 liters of mangoes into that bucket, and what I got out is about probably 15 liters. So I think that's a pretty good return for such a motley and impure run. So I'll let these sit for maybe another couple of weeks, and then I'll probably end up distilling them to make ethanol. Thanks for watching.